Hello again, and welcome to the second video in the Japanese knotweed phenophase series for Pesky Plant Trackers volunteers here at the University of Minnesota. Today, we will be discussing the two flower phenophases of Japanese knotweed and how to tell when they are happening. As shown on the timeline here, the first of the flower phenophases of this plant is referred to as flowers or flower buds, beginning in late summer, and the second is known as open flowers. In knotweed, the two flower phenophases do overlap and end at the same time. The two flower phenophases end at the same time because, in order for them to be occurring, there must be flowers present on the plant. Starting off with the flowers or flower buds phenophase, it's important to understand that the name of this phenophase is flowers or flower buds. For this specific phenophase, you are not being asked to choose whether flowers or flower buds are present. Instead, you are being asked to simply write yes or no, and write yes as soon as something that is recognizable as a flower structure is present. The flowers or flower buds phenophase is defined as when one or more fresh, open or unopened flowers or flower buds are visible on the plant. Include flower buds or inflorescences that are swelling or expanding, and do not include wilted or dried flowers. So, based off of this definition, we can see that the plant shown in the photo is currently in the flowers or flower buds phenophase. In this photo, on the other hand, it may not be clear whether or not the structure shown is a flower bud or just the beginning of another stem. As time progresses, experienced observers will be able to tell that, yes, what we see here is a flower beginning to form. New observers may not be sure, and that's completely okay. If you are unable to tell, you can place a question mark for unsure in your observations. And then, as you become more familiar with the plant over the course of subsequent observations, you would be able to modify past reports of question marks to yes or no, depending on the situation. Moving on to the other flower phenophase, a plant is considered to have open flowers when one or more open, fresh flowers are visible on the plant. Flowers are considered open when the reproductive parts, male stamens or female pistils, are visible between or within unfolded or open flower parts, such as petals, floral tubes, or sepals. Do not include wilted or dried flowers. Keeping in mind that the two flower phenophases overlap, we can see that in the photo on the right, both open flowers and flowers or flower buds are occurring in this plant. The most important thing to remember when trying to decipher whether or not your plant is in the second flower phenophase is that the reproductive parts, male stamens or female pistils, must be visible between or within unfolded or open flower parts. If the reproductive organs are visible, then this phenophase is present. That being said, for Japanese knotweeds, it is normal for flowers to have stamens that are small, inconspicuous, or absent, so it may be difficult to tell some of the time. This brings us to the question of when these flower phenophases officially come to an end. The flower phenophases end once the flowers on the plant have become dried or wilted, also known as spent flowers. For Japanese knotweeds, these spent flowers will often fall off on their own, and of course, only flowers that are on the plant are indicators of the flower phenophases, so it shouldn't be too difficult to see whether or not there are any living flowers left on the plant. Whenever living, fresh flowers remain on the plant, mark yes for both flower phenophases. In this plant, for example, although many of the flowers have become spent, there are a few that remain, so it is still showing flowers or flower buds, as well as open flowers. Well, there you go. You are now ready to take this information and apply it to your Pesky Plant Trackers observations. Thank you for taking the time to educate yourself on the flower phenophases of Japanese knotweed, and make sure to check out the other Japanese knotweed phenophase videos to provide yourself with a deeper understanding of how to observe this plant.